Studentpreneur, the podcast about students who are entrepreneurs. Get motivated and keep your energy high. Stories from Studentpreneurs.
Welcome to these new episodes of Studentpreneur. My name is Julian Marchand, entrepreneur turned PhD student. Thank you to all of you long-term listeners and new listeners. I hope you're enjoying all these student entrepreneurs taking some time to share with you their motivating stories. I would love to hear your comments and entrepreneurial stories on our Facebook page. So visit Studentpreneur Podcast on Facebook and also like us. Each week, I bring you the best of those individuals who are students and entrepreneurs. I call them studentpreneurs. This week, our studentpreneur is Kishore. It's a story of a Naval Architect student who ends up building a visual recognition company with his mates. And as he says, it's all about the team. Listen up. All right. Today we've got Kishore Natarajan with us. Kishore is 22. He's from India. And he just finished his degree as a naval architecture at IIT Madras. And is currently in the burn phase of his business called HyperVerge. He started with other students. Is that right, Kishore? Do you want to introduce yourself and your business?
Hey, Julian. Thanks for the intro. Hey, guys. I'm Kishore Natarajan. As Julian said, I recently graduated from IIT Madras with a naval architecture and an ocean engineering degree. And I have a business which is HyperWatch, where we call ourselves the computer vision guys. We help the machines see just like how we humans do. So we write all these cool algorithms and softwares which help machines to visualize and look at objects as we look at.
Cool. Is that it's a customer focus?
So HyperVerge, where is a technology company. What we do is develop technologies which help in, say, different applications. So just to give you an idea of what kind of technology it is, say just like we humans look at photographs and understand the contents of it, right? So what if a computer is able to do the same thing? Say if we pass an image to a computer and it's able to identify different faces within it, the scene context in which the photo has been taken, the different objects in it, that's some kind of a technology. So what we do is to develop all these technologies, set it up on the cloud, which businesses can use, while we as a team are more inclined towards developing consumer-facing products.
Ah, okay. So you're going down the B2C path. Okay.
Yes.
And will you say you're competing with the like of Google Photos?
Yes. So a lot of applications have come out very recently. You have Google Photos, you have Facebook Moments, and you have a couple of startups which are also doing the same thing. We have a different kind of a user flow which tries to tackle a slightly different problem as such. So I'll explain about the product in detail once we go into it.
Yes, excellent. Well, do you want to tell us how you got started?
It all started so much as a fun. So when you had got into college, which is IIT Madras, we had the student interest group which promoted students to try their hands on technology. So that's how, as a naval architect, I got a chance to work on this technology called computer vision. And there were seniors and a couple of people who kept teaching us and giving us exposure to all these technologies to solve a very difficult academic problem. So when we were in our first year at college, we were pretty much solving problems like reading Arabic characters and converting them to English. So this is the first place where we got our exposure to technology.
Was it compulsory or did you just do that?
It wasn't compulsory. So it's more of a student interest group. You have these bunch of seniors who are there hanging out at a technical club and trying to teach people. So if you're interested, you go there and spend time with them. They'll teach you and then you learn in the process.
How did you find about those groups?
So these groups are pretty active at IIT. And if you are some guy who is interested and wanting to spend time with the technology, which I thought I should be doing. So you get to hear about all these groups and then you go join one of them and try your hands on it. So we have a lot of groups and one such group was Computer Vision Group.
Okay.
So we used to solve these high or so-called difficult academic problems, at least for us at that stage. And we used to participate in all these international competitions representing India. So where postgraduates and graduates from top institutes like MIT, CMU, Berkeley, and all these people used to participate. And what happened was at these events, we were acknowledged as one of the best teams to have developed this technology. That gave us a lot of confidence boost.
Yeah.
When we had come back from the competition, our outlook had changed. We were shifting our focus from academic problems to more of an industry-oriented problem where we wanted to apply the technology. So we started consulting around different companies. We ended up consulting 15 Indian companies, including ITC, which is Indian Tobacco Company. and MRF, which is Michelin of India.
Sorry, when you say consulting, like you went to work for them to solve some of their problems?
Yes, as a student interest group, we took up their consulting projects. So at IIT Madras, we have the center, which is industrial consultancy and sponsored research.
Oh, that's good.
So through which a lot of professors consult different industries.
It's with the professors. Okay.
So there is the center through which professors take up consultancy projects. So we were the first student group to do the same thing with the guidance of professors. So we were a completely student group, and with the guidance of professors, we could take up all these projects.
Wow, that's really good. And that's because you had the confidence through the big competitions.
Yes, and then we wanted to really take it out to people rather than just trying to meddle around with a lot of academic projects and so on.
But all of you were like engineers. There was no management students.
No management students. So IIT is a technology institute, and all the undergrad degrees over there is mostly on the technology side.
Okay.
In fact, all of them are technology degrees that you go in for. So we consulted pretty big companies by Indian standards. We worked with ITC, we worked with MRF, which is Michelin for India. And then we worked with Indian Railways, which is again one of the largest railways in the world. After a while, we decided we need to work on something even more futuristic in technology. And we shifted our gears and moved on to work in futuristic technologies where we wanted to bring them to the end consumers and enable new possibilities for businesses and so on.
That's a big shift because industries and consumers have very different needs and very different way of serving them, really.
Very true. So what we did was we picked out the area of technology, which we thought is going to be the next big thing in the future. And while we did that, we selected something called image recognition. So as I explained it previously, it is basically helping machines to understand what is there in your image or a photograph, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is, given any image, it understands all the underlying concepts in it and tries to create its own understanding of the image. So that's the technology that we selected and we started to work on it.
So you made the decision to pick one technology that you all thought as a group will be big in the near future.
Yes.
How did you make that decision? Because you'd been working on a lot of different technologies before. So how did you, what was the reasons behind this one?
So just to give you a time frame on where all these things were happening, all the different 15 consultancy projects happened from 2012 summer to 2014 December.
Mm-hmm.
And starting 2014 December, we wanted to work on something futuristic. So we wanted to look out for opportunities that are there and which will be supported at fast moving markets. So we did a lot of analysis. We studied a lot of things on the internet to look up what is the current trends in this technology, what is being expected to come out in the future. And if these are the technologies that is coming out in the future, how can all these technologies be applied? So we took around a month and a half to shortlist around 6 different technologies. One of it being video surveillance, the other being image recognition, and a couple of other areas. And at the end of it, we had to work on 2 of these technologies to create prototypes before we went to US in summer 2014.
Ah, okay.
So as students, we decided, okay, if this is the futuristic technology that we are working on, then we need to go to a market which is very accommodative of such futuristic technologies. And one of the fast-paced market that we had access to was US, because a lot of our alumnus and we had our alumni network well established there. So we decided that we'll go there. And we created 2 prototypes on these 2 technologies. So we had created something called a scene recognition module, which identifies the scene context in a photograph. Say if a photo has been taken at a beach, a restaurant, a party hall, an auditorium, a stadium, and so on, right? We developed a module which could recognize up to 64 scenes, and we had patented it. And also we developed a basic module on video surveillance, which helps identification of people moving around in a mall and tries to identify left out packages and so on. So with these 2 modules, we had gone to US in summer 2014.
Just a quick question, because Facebook mentioned a couple of years back that they had the technology to recognize people in your Facebook pictures.
Correct.
Is that possible? Because they said that...
Yes.
Okay.
At this point, we are also having the capability of recognizing people on the photographs. We have modules which will be working best for consumer photos within their camera roll.
And I've just heard, I think it was this week that there was a big story about Google Photos, that they're algorithm returned something pretty racist. Like there was a picture of an African American and Google Photos labeled it as gorillas. So it's still not perfect, is it?
So yeah, there's a lot of problem with AI. It's nothing to blame Google of. It's all in the evolution phase, and computer is also trying to learn just like how we humans do. But to be on the safer side and not to hurt anyone's emotions, I think these technologies should be put to use in a slightly different way. When you say you are trying to identify people in an image, it's better not to label them as animals and so on. When you are saying you're identifying people, it's rather good to say, okay, I've identified this person with these qualities in faces and structure. And if you don't know who it is, you just say you don't know who it is. So I think there are slightly two different things which are there. One is generic identification within an image, where you pass an image, it identifies and gives you tags on whatever the computer understands of the image. And the next one is specific set of modules, where you say, okay, you give an image, I'm going to tell you what scene it is. I'm not going to tell you anything more. The next possible thing is, okay, I'm going to tell you all the objects in this. And the other thing could be, okay, I'm going to tell you all the animals in this, all the people in it, and different things, right? So yeah, it can be put to use in different ways. And I strongly believe there is nothing to blame Google on this. It's just that the technology is very immature at this point.
So even Google is making mistakes. So it's fine.
Yes.
All right. So at what stage did you realize that from doing consultancy work, at what stage did you realize that you could actually build a business and make some money?
So the initial consultancy projects that we were working on, from day one, we started realizing promising revenues. And when you are a student, and that too from India, so even the small figures like a couple of lakhs in Indian rupees seems to be a big number for you. And that's obviously promising for any student to take a decision saying, okay, this seems to be a viable option and we can go ahead and do something in this space. But the seriousness of it came when we actually saw the impact of what it can do and not just the revenues. So when we went out to consult these industries, right, we are solving some pretty simple problems, and those things were adding pretty huge values to the industries, right? And when we see the impact that these technologies can create, we are really moved by it. And we said, okay, if we are doing something, then let's go out and empower people with these technologies and nothing more. So all of us, when we were taking this choice, making this conscious choice, had offers and job offers from different places. So one of my co-founders had a job offer from Microsoft Redmond, and I had a job offer from Schlumberger, which was paying me somewhere around 60 lakhs, which is $100,000. And one other co-founder of mine had a job offer in California working with a startup. So we said, though all these benefits are there, we still need to work on these technology and see where we can push this technology forward to.
Wow. Okay. So you really had to make a serious decision because you actually had an opportunity cost. It was like a proper job.
But when it came to the time of making a choice, it was no longer a choice that we had to forcefully make. We were just all, I would say, on the subconscious decided that we are going to start up. And the choices were pretty evident. Just the time came by and went past us. We never really took a lot of note on it.
Wow. And how did that work when you guys, all students in your 20s, went to talk to those big companies that you were consulting for? That didn't see any professors behind you. So
there are two things here. One, as IIT, it has a brand in this place, and students from IIT are expected to be good and willing to solve problems. And the second one is obviously our professors were behind us. They were all supporting us because we were taking a different kind of an initiative, and they really wanted to help us out. So they introduced us to first few companies. And from then on, it was left to us to go and explore different opportunities and select the problems which are worth solving. And obviously, the professors were advising us on how do we go about the problem solving, is it a good problem to solve, and structuring the cost structures and charging the company and so on. So professors were always helping us out with all these things.
Oh, okay, cool. And how did you manage between all those different consulting projects and your studies in naval architecture?
So I think these are just two different tracks for me as such, because you have college hours from say morning 8 to evening 4, and pretty much the rest of the time is left out to the students to explore their interest and do whatever they're willing to.
Ah, okay. So they're open to the idea of you trying different things as well.
Correct. So IIT as such offers you a lot of things to do. So it could be on the art side where you're learning how to dance or play guitar or or it could be on the sports side where you are actually trying to hone your skills on cricket, football, volleyball, and a lot of other things. Or you could be one of those guys who go and sit and work on technology. So I chose to be the last one, where I prefer to work with technology. And there are a lot of people like me in IIT.
But when you worked every time that you were not studying and in class, I guess, or?
Yes, it's more of a fun because you find all people with similar interests and you just keep discussing and working on things that you're really interested in. So as soon as the college ends, you go to a place where all of us meet, which is here at IIT. We were very happy to have this place called Center for Innovation, which is a very huge space, a student workshop kind of a thing, where we get to work on all these different technologies.
So there was a Center for Innovation. Like, was it kind of an incubator program for you guys?
It is more of a student interest groups which come together over there and start working. So we had groups which worked on automobiles, which constructed race cars, and we had groups which built underwater vehicles. We had groups which built miniature aeroplanes, quadrotors, and a lot of other things. We had robot building groups.
And did your business had any impact on your studies? Like, did you fail some classes or did you miss some exams?
No, that's never the case, because whatever sufficient time that you need to allot for studies is already being done. You go to classes, you attend, you do whatever work it takes on the academic side. The rest of the time which is left out for you to be free or explore your interests is what I invested in working on things that I'm interested in.
So can you give us an example for a week, for instance? How much time will they leave you to do whatever you want?
Let's take a week. So in a week, typically all days are pretty much the same. So you have classes starting morning 8 o'clock, and there are 1 hour slots which goes on till say probably 3 or 4 in the evening.
Yeah.
Right. And the rest of the time is left out for you. So after your classes get over, you pretty much freshen up, play for some time, have some fun, and then go to this workplace where we pretty much reach at around 7 or 8 and stay up till 1 or 2 in the night, where we keep working. So we keep having fun and we keep working there. So yeah, that's where we learned all the stuff. So it's pretty much, if 4 years I had spent learning these different things also.
So for you, working until 1 a.m. was fun?
Yeah. So for not just for me, there are a lot of people who prefer working than going to classes. So there are a lot of us who just keep liking what they do and they keep doing it.
So is that how you learn? By just trying and getting into those students and interest groups?
Yes, that's the only source by which we start learning. So that's our spark which happened with respect to technology. And then we completely went into it.
Okay. So do you read on the side, or do you follow blogs or YouTube?
Yes. So our approach is more of a problem solving approach. Say you have a problem which you have identified and you need to solve the problem using the technology that you have. Then you pretty much take all the necessary steps and learning that you need to do in order to solve the problem, right?
Yeah.
So whatever technology that you need to learn to solve it, you just go, sit, learn, and then solve it.
Okay. Is there any place that you go to in order to find an answer, like on the net? Or is that always a different place?
Always a different place. And you just Google around, you find specific blogs and sites which help you do that.
Okay.
I think anyone who has Googled it 10 times, they know which is a good source to find answers for their particular domain.
Okay. All right. And so what type of support did you had from, I guess, your university or your professors or mentor? What type of support did you have?
So first thing from the university is the time that we had. And second is the infrastructure and all the infrastructural support that they gave. Third thing, which is our professors, which is one of the largest thing. So there are a couple of professors who encouraged us a lot and encouraged a lot of these student groups to take part in all these competitions, develop their technology skills and so on. And I think these were three most important things. And the fourth one, which I would say is the largest contributor, is your peer group. So a lot of people with similar interests trying to like play around with the problems and technologies is the biggest thing that we had again.
Just to go back, you mentioned infrastructure. How does the university support you in terms of infrastructure?
So I mentioned about Center for Innovation, right? So this is a physical area which can accommodate a lot of people, in fact, with all proper seating and so on. And they also provide you funds for buying different hardwares, and making robots and so on. So yeah, this was alumni funded, and our alumni had funded this particular program where Center for Innovation could be set up and student projects can be funded.
Oh, that's pretty good. And what about you as a business, HyperVerge? Where are you located? Are you on campus or are you outside campus?
So we started out when we were at campus, and now we have moved on to our own office very close to IIT. It's a place called IIT Madras Research Park.
Ah, okay, research park.
So where a lot of startups get incubated and establish their companies here. It's an IT park.
Okay, cool. And did the university help you finance your stay at that place?
So university is more of an incubator where you get your company incubated, and they give you an initial small token amount to run your company. And what happened with HyperVerge was really interesting. So when we were doing all these consultancy projects, we got ourselves incubated and set our company up at IIT Madras Research Park. And as I was telling you, in 2014, we had moved to US with the hope of working on futuristic technologies. And in US, a lot of things happened good with HyperVerge. So with the technology that we had developed, we could impress a lot of professors at MIT. And one of them had agreed to come on board looking at small and very young kids doing such good technology work. So we have Professor Ramesh Raskar from MIT Media Labs as one of our advisors.
That's pretty amazing.
And we went to Bay Area. We showcased our technology, showed our vision for the company. We raised funds from a couple of largest venture capitalist firms in US.
Well, how did you do this? Like, how did you know where to go to do fundraising?
So we were all very naive at this. So when we said we are working on futuristic technology, our idea was, okay, let's go to US, do a Kickstarter campaign. People will fund our project and we'll go by the crowdsourced way. When we went there with an idea of raising around $80,000, but while coming back, we came back with $700,000.
You came back with
$700,000.
Okay, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so HyperVerge really had a very good team of very smart people, and in fact has a very smart set of people. And I think I should really be proud to be a part of such a team.
Yeah, no, it seems like you're doing the right things. But how do you know where the VCs were? Like, because you came from India, like you've never been in the Bay Area. Did you have like your professor from MIT introduce you to venture capitalists, or how did you do it?
So as I told you, IITM alumni network is pretty big. So a lot of alumnus stay and have established a lot of companies in the Bay Area. When we went to Bay Area, we met a couple of VCs, angels first, and we weren't going anywhere because we were very naive. We were totally inexperienced at that point. And over a period of 20 days, me and our co-founders had really picked up what actually is required at that place. And we could turn around our whole pitch deck. And we raised money from NEA, which is the second largest venture capitalist firm when it comes to technology space. And we also raised funds from Naya Ventures, which is again one of the new, very hungry funds from Dallas. We raised from Anand Rajaraman and Venki Harinarayan. These are two big investors in US. So they had seed funded Facebook at a very early stage. And they had seed funded Lyft, which is Uber competitor in US. And they have chosen to invest in us.
That's pretty fantastic. Like you went there to raise 80 grand and you come back with 700,000. Like that's, but it's, as you said, like it seems that the power of your alumni network really, really helped you there. Like that's pretty amazing.
Very true. Very true.
Well, it's your skill as well, because if you impress the professor at MIT to be your advisor, then that gives you even more confidence for investors to back you up, really.
Correct. So that's the first thing which happened. So we could meet our, Professor Ramesh Raskar. We had met him in US and then showed him the technology. We met him again at the Bay Area. And then he said, okay, I can come on board as an advisor. And we were like totally shocked because we used to admire him. And even before we met him at US, we used to watch a lot of his TED Talks. And we were pretty much aware about his technology. When he says, okay, I can be your advisor, and we're like, okay, wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's really cool. I understand. Like, you've got those people that are kind of online mentor and then become the real thing. That's pretty cool. So an advisor like this is just excited to be working with you? Like, is it because there's no money or anything for them, is there?
No, they looked at us as young students who are trying to really do something in the space and who are ready to invest all their time and energy doing it. So they look at us as young people who really need the support, and they are happy to help us out. So that's what is their single biggest motivation rather than money or anything else. And as a business, we do have structures which gives equity out to advisors, but I think they are not really dependent on it. Their entire motivation is just to push us around and then help us walk through the path of entrepreneurial phase in this technology.
Wow. And now that you're back in India, how do you communicate with your advisor and also with your investors? Because I guess they want status update on what you guys are doing.
Yeah. So all the outbound communication is taken care by Kedar, who is the CEO of the company and is a co-founder and CEO. So he takes care of all the communication. He spends half his time here in India and half his time in the Bay Area. And he meets and talks to people, keeps them updated on what is happening, takes back suggestions, and we discuss it and then take our decisions.
Yeah, no, okay, that makes sense. You have to have someone that stays in the Bay Area. That's face-to-face contact. Yep, that's awesome. So in the middle of all of this, how did you have time to go and to the Global Student Entrepreneurship Award?
So that just happened in the flow.
In the flow, okay.
I told you about the tech incubator, right? As in at IIT Madras Research Park. So they had sent a mail and they had called us up and said, hey, you guys are students, you should pretty much go and participate in this competition. So I went and registered, went for this Indian national finals. And it was a very natural thing. I just went there without so much of an expectation or an intention. Just went to represent HyperVerge as a team and spoke about HyperVerge. That's pretty much what I did.
Wow. And then you got selected to go further, right?
Yeah, I got selected to go further. And unfortunately, I couldn't make it to the global finals because we had some business critical issues going on here. And it was very much essential that I be here.
It sounds like you didn't have time. After everything you told us, I'm like, how did you manage to go there?
For this event, I couldn't actually make it up there. We had a lot of things going on around here. And it was very essential that I be here and work with the team.
And how was it to go to at least to the Indian final, like to see other students like you being entrepreneurial and starting their own business?
It's pretty motivating. First of all, you have all these 30, 40 people who are in the same journey as you are. And that really gives you a kick. So you go watch them. You really feel that all of you are together and taking a different path from what the rest of the world has taken. So that's one. And the next one is you get to meet a lot of entrepreneurs who are very experienced, who run pretty big businesses, and talking to them for a couple of minutes also gives you a lot of knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So I made it a point to keep in touch with them. So I call them up once in a while and tell them what's happening, seek their advice. And I really love the community, entrepreneur organization community. So that's a pretty good community which is there.
Yeah. Were they more like business oriented than engineering oriented, those people?
So it has, I think, an equal mixture of things, both engineering and businesses. Like some of them were from engineering backgrounds who had built businesses. And as entrepreneurship goes on, over a period of time, you move away from what you actually do technically into business, right? So I got to meet a lot of experienced business people there.
Okay, so you extended your network. So you already have your network of alumni students, and now you build up your network with the one from the GSEA competition.
Very true.
All right, after all those success stories, I'm pretty sure you had some tough times through this. Can you give us an example or two of a tough time?
So I think entrepreneurship, when it always gives you a high peak, it also shows you that there is a low peak. So you end up going up and down all through this journey. If I have to give you specific examples, so the reason why I couldn't go for GSEA finals was that we had to make some strategical changes in our company. We were shifting directions and so on. And we really had to put together a lot of resources on that front, right?
Yeah.
So that was one of our low phases, I would say, where all of us were trying to figure out what the next big thing that HyperWatch should be working on.
Ah, it was then. All right. Yeah, no, I understand. That's pretty critical.
Yeah, so that's one, I would say, good learning phase that we had, where we really had to spend a lot of time thinking through, experimenting, building out, and so on.
Yeah, because you don't want to miss, because you all gave up on your own jobs, and there was a decision to redirect the business. So.
Yeah, so it was never about the opportunity cost. but it was more about, okay, we as a team are together, and if we need to move forward, we really need to make this choice right. So all of us here value the team the most. And when we have such brilliant people with us, we never want to let anyone down. We just want to stay together, and whatever is required to stay together, we are doing those choices right now.
Ah, that's great. Yeah, that's a great spirit. So is there anything else you want to share with the audience?
So HyperVerge today is focused on bringing these futuristic technologies to consumers, and it has to bring it out to consumers in a way where end consumers, a very normal end consumer like you or me, should be happy using the product. So that's our vision as of now. And if we have to realize that vision, we need a lot of help and support from outside. So we are looking to reach out to mentors who will help us grow our consumer application and take it to the next step.
Okay, so you're looking for mentors with consumer experience.
Yes. And all the consumers out there who are willing to look into what HyperVerge is really doing, they can definitely check us out and get in touch with me, and I'll be happy to interact with them.
Okay, so how do they reach you?
They can reach me through a LinkedIn, where I put out my LinkedIn profile, I guess I've given you. They can also reach me through my Twitter handle.
Okay, so Twitter handle, I'll put it on the show notes. Okay, and your Facebook page as well for people to follow you. Excellent. All right. Well, it sounds really exciting. Like, it sounds like you guys are on the right track. Well, you know where you want to go, and you've got the fundings for it, and you've got the motivation. So you just need the consumers now.
Yes, that's pretty much the stage where we are. So we are working on it.
All right. Well, all the best, and we'll be following your progress through your Facebook page, and we hope you'll find success.
Thank you so much, Julian. It was really good talking to you, and it's a pretty good initiative from your side for the Student Podcast. And I hope it really motivates people who you are intending to motivate.
Well, you've got a pretty example of you guys going to the US to raise 80 grand and end up raising more than 700,000. It's a good experience. Like, it's a good example that you can do it. You know, you turn around, it didn't work for 20 days. You turn around your deck, and with the help of your network, you raise the right amount. I mean, that's crazy. That's a crazy example. That's good. It's good motivation.
It's a team and a set of mentors, and that's what I would say. Finally, everything boils down to the team. So your team includes your mentors, advisors, and people who are working with you.
Yes, that's beautiful. All right. All the best. Catch you later.
Thank you so much, Julian. Bye-bye.
Time for a wrap-up. Each studentpreneur story is different, and what works for some people doesn't for others. However, I'd like to point out a few things in Kishore's journey that are similar to the studentpreneurs I've talked to. Contrary to a lot of studentpreneurs, Kishore wasn't entrepreneurial before university. However, he joined with interest the extracurricular activities offered by the student interest groups. This is how he discovered a new field that he liked, and also new friends. He and his teammates built their confidence by winning international student competitions. So keep your eyes open for competitions. Thanks to that confidence, they all agreed to not take the jobs they were offered and instead focus on their business. Imagine if they hadn't won those competitions or even attended them. Kishore and his team have found their alumni network very supportive in their journey, and also some key professors. So check your alumni network and contact them for your business. If you've enjoyed this podcast episode, make sure that you subscribe so you can get a fresh episode every Wednesday. Support the Studentpreneur Podcast by liking the Facebook page and giving 5-star reviews in iTunes. Keep breaking the mindset and the stereotype.